General Hospital spoilers reveal that Danny is truly sinking into deep sorrow as he comes to the realization that Sasha's unborn child is not Jason's son, the father whom Danny admires and respects so much. The moment the truth is revealed creates a complex wave of emotions in this teenager's mind, from initial confusion to overwhelming disappointment, and finally to an inexplicable sense of loss. Danny had imagined having a half-sibling, a new family bond he could share with Jason, but now that dream has evaporated. What hurts Danny even more is seeing Jason's noble sacrifice seemingly go to waste. He witnesses how his father is willing to take on a responsibility that isn't his. Endure the judgmental stares from the Port Charles community, and even risk damaging existing relationships, all to protect the true identity of the baby's father. But as each day passes, Danny realizes more that the truth will eventually have to come to light, and Jason's efforts are merely delaying the inevitable. One of the emerging complications is how Danny is coping with this secret. The teenager, who is in the process of forming his identity, struggles with the moral pressure of keeping such a big secret. Every time asked about Jason's soon-to-be-born baby, Danny has to lie or dodge the question. An action that goes against the values of honesty and integrity that Jason and Sam have taught him. This internal conflict is beginning to affect his studies, friendships, and even how he views himself. New dynamics are also emerging in the relationship between Danny and Jason. Danny, who always admired his father as a symbol of strength and integrity, is now seeing another side of Jason, a man willing to live a lie to protect others. While Danny can understand the noble motives behind Jason's actions, he finds it hard to reconcile with the fact that his father, who always taught him about honesty, is living a public lie. Danny is starting to demand a greater stake in this situation. He no longer wants to be just a passive secret keeper. In a tense conversation with Jason, Danny says that if he must continue carrying the burden of this secret, he wants to be involved in the decision of when and how the truth will be revealed. He also expresses a desire to meet and speak with the real father of the baby, a request that surprises and worries Jason. Danny's new attitude is proving to be one of the most significant character adjustments. From an obedient, well-behaved child, Danny is growing into a teenager with his own voice, ready to stand up for what he believes is right. Sam, witnessing this change, feels both proud and concerned, proud that her son is maturing with a strong sense of justice, but worried about the potential consequences if Danny decides to act on his own beliefs. In a recent scene, Danny secretly met with Sasha to discuss the situation. He told her that while he would continue to keep the secret for Jason, he believes Sasha needs to have a practical plan for when the truth will eventually come out. Danny also expressed concerns about the impact this lie could have on the unborn child, who will one day have to face the truth about their origins. Danny's maturity and understanding during this conversation made Sasha reconsider her decisions. As this storyline continues to develop, viewers are witnessing a significant transformation in Danny Morgan's character, from a supporting player to someone with his own voice and influence on the narrative. This sudden maturity, driven by the complex circumstances he must face, is creating new and interesting dynamics in the plot while opening up new possibilities for character development in the future. Danny's grief over the false sibling is gradually turning into a newfound determination to ensure that when the truth finally comes out, it will be done in a way that minimizes harm to everyone involved, especially the innocent unborn child. And in the process, Danny is discovering a strength and autonomy he didn't know he had, a discovery that could shape his future in Port Charles in ways no one could have predicted. Another notable aspect of Danny's emotional journey is his increasingly complicated relationship with Sasha. Initially, Danny saw Sasha only as his father's friend, who was about to give birth to a baby for their family. However, after learning the truth, he had to adjust his perception of Sasha. Rather than feeling anger or betrayal, Danny began to develop a deep sense of empathy for Sasha, understanding that she was in a situation just as difficult as his. In recent encounters, Danny has started to take on the role of a friend and supporter to Sasha, listening to her concerns about the future and offering surprisingly wise advice far beyond his years. Sasha, initially taken aback by Danny's maturity, has gradually come to value his unique perspective, one that is close enough to understand the situation but also distant enough to view it objectively. This relationship has created a new dynamic in the storyline, as Sasha begins to see Danny not just as Jason's son but as a valuable ally in this complicated situation. In a particularly touching moment, Sasha allowed Danny to feel the baby kicking in her womb, an experience that gave Danny a sense of connection to the baby, even though it wasn't his biological sibling as he had once believed. Meanwhile, Michael, the actual father of the child, who is unaware of the truth, has begun noticing the growing relationship between Danny and Sasha. He is puzzled by Danny's increasing interest in Sasha and her unborn child, not knowing that Danny already knows part of the truth. The interactions between Michael and Danny are becoming increasingly tense, with Danny having to be careful not to reveal what he knows while still trying to understand the man who is now the biological father of the baby. Jason, who is watching all of this unfold, is becoming increasingly worried about the impact this situation is having on Danny. He has tried to talk to his son about how he is truly feeling, but Danny, who is trying to appear strong, often avoids these conversations. In the rare moments when Danny opens up, Jason can see the pain his son is going through, which only strengthens his resolve to protect him at all costs. Willow, Michael's wife, who might inadvertently overhear the secret, has also started noticing the changes in Danny's behavior. She has observed how Danny seems particularly interested in conversations about Sasha's unborn child and how he and Jason sometimes exchange knowing glances when the topic is brought up. With her keen intuition, Willow is beginning to piece together the clues, a process that could lead to far-reaching consequences for everyone involved. As the story continues to unfold, Danny is standing at a crossroads, torn between loyalty to his father, empathy for Sasha, and an increasingly strong belief that the truth needs to be revealed. His decisions in the coming days could not only shape his own future but also that of many others in Port Charles. And in the process, viewers are witnessing the emergence of a new character, not just little Danny Morgan, but a young man with a strong sense of right and wrong and the courage to act on his beliefs. Willow has begun nurturing deep suspicions about the true identity of Sasha's unborn child. The scattered pieces of conversations, the meaningful glances exchanged between Jason and Sasha, and especially the unexplained tension whenever the subject is brought up in front of Michael, all these are slowly connecting in her sharp mind. With each passing day, Willow becomes more convinced that something is wrong with the story everyone is telling. This developing plot is revealing one of the most notable adjustments in Willow's character. The woman known for her sincerity and kindness is now showing another side, a decisive Willow, willing to go further to protect her family. This change is not coincidental but the inevitable result of everything she has been through, from her battle with cancer to becoming a mother and dealing with the complex Corinthos family challenges. Realizing that her suspicions need to be confirmed before she can act, Willow has started taking a series of calculated steps to uncover the truth. She has been quietly observing interactions between Sasha and Jason, noting inconsistencies in their story, and starting to research when the conception might have happened. However, Willow knows that to get definitive confirmation, she needs an inside source, and Danny Morgan emerges as the perfect target. Willow has noticed changes in Danny's behavior, the way he becomes uneasy whenever the baby is mentioned, the anxious glances he shares with Sasha, and most notably the increasingly strange closeness between him and the woman who is supposedly carrying his half-sibling. All these signs make Willow believe that Danny knows something, a secret that is weighing too heavily on him. In a bold move marking a new level of calculation in Willow's strategy, she has begun approaching Danny subtly. Not through direct confrontation but via a series of seemingly harmless interactions. She invites Danny over to her house to play with Wiley, creating opportunities for private conversations. She expresses particular interest in his experience as an older brother, offering advice on how to welcome a new family member. Most importantly, she creates a safe space where Danny feels listened to and understood, a perfect environment for secrets to gradually be revealed. Willow knows she can win information from Danny not with money or material gifts, but with what the teenager truly craves, empathy and an adult who is willing to listen to his concerns. She understands that Danny is struggling under the weight of this secret and might just need a small excuse to relieve the pressure. Willow has begun sharing her own small secrets with Danny, building mutual trust while implying that sometimes sharing difficult things is necessary to feel free. One of Willow's latest brilliant moves is how she has subtly planted the idea in Danny's mind that the truth, though painful, is ultimately better than lies. In a seemingly harmless conversation about ethics, Willow presented a hypothetical situation about keeping a secret that could harm someone else, a scenario that strikingly mirrors Danny's real situation. She has made him think about the long-term consequences of hiding the truth, especially when it involves an unborn child, a child who deserves to know the truth about their origins. Interestingly, in the process, Willow is also going through her own internal struggle. Part of her feels guilty for manipulating a child, even with the noble goal of protecting her family. The other part justifies her actions, believing that she is doing the right thing, not only for Michael and their children but also for the unborn child, who deserves to know the truth about their origins. This inner conflict is adding layers of complexity to Willow's character, making her actions unpredictable and dramatic. Jason, with his sharp instincts, has started noticing the increasingly frequent interactions between Danny and Willow. Although he is unsure of Willow's true intentions, Jason senses a potential danger to the secret he is trying to protect. He has tried to subtly warn Danny about keeping family matters private, but the more he does so, the more he seems to push Danny closer to Willow, the one person who seems to offer exactly the kind of acceptance and understanding Danny is looking for. Sam, caught in the middle of this underlying conflict, is becoming an unpredictable variable. While she knows about Jason's lie and has agreed to support him, Sam also sees the weight this secret is placing on their son. As Sam witnesses the developing relationship between Danny and Willow, she's unsure whether she should intervene or let things unfold naturally, a decision that could reshape the future of many people in Port Charles. As Willow's plan continues to develop, she is getting closer to confirming her suspicions. Each conversation with Danny brings new pieces of the puzzle, and Willow knows that with just one moment of weakness, one careless comment, Danny might unintentionally reveal exactly what she needs to know. The lingering question is, when Willow finally uncovers the truth, what will she do with it? And will the price of that truth, including Danny's trust and respect, be worth it? In a recent dramatic scene, Danny almost revealed the truth when Willow cleverly asked about Sasha's pregnancy checkup schedule. When the teenager began answering inconsistently, Willow's expression showed that she was on the right track. Only the timely appearance of Jason prevented Danny from continuing. But Willow knows that she's getting closer to the truth, and she won't stop until she gets the final answer. As Port Charles continues to revolve around these secrets and lies, one thing is certain. The psychological battle between Willow and those guarding the secret will only grow more intense. And in the midst of all these adults is Danny, a teenager burdened with a secret too heavy to bear, and who may soon become the one to decide the fate of many families in Port Charles. Willow is not just using the secret of Sasha's unborn child as a mere bargaining chip anymore. Her investigation is leading her to a far deeper and much more dangerous discovery, a calculated plan that could completely change the lives of many families in Port Charles. The story is taking a shocking turn as Willow starts considering using this information not just to protect her own family but to achieve a much larger goal, stripping Michael of his rights as Wiley and Amelia's father. The recent shifts in Willow's character reveal a dark side that few have recognized. After months of battling illness, loss, and constantly defending her family from outside threats, Willow has developed a new philosophy on life, one that suggests sometimes it's necessary to do things that can't easily be justified in order to protect those you love. This transformation is turning Willow from a woman who always placed morality first into someone willing to cross moral boundaries to achieve her objectives. In private consultations with her lawyer, Willow has begun exploring the legal consequences of a man fathering a child out of wedlock. She's particularly interested in whether this could be used in a custody battle, and how to prove that Michael isn't a suitable father if he could betray her with Sasha. These consultations are taking place in utmost secrecy, with even those closest to Willow unaware of them. As Willow continues to cook her plan, she has started systematically gathering evidence. Every conversation with Danny is secretly recorded on her phone. Each interaction between Michael and Sasha is logged in a detailed journal, with specific dates, times, and contents. She's even hired a private investigator to follow their private meetings, creating a dossier that could be used in court if necessary. However, Willow's true target isn't Michael, it's Sasha. Sasha's betrayal, someone Willow once considered a close friend, has affected her more deeply than anyone can imagine. In Willow's mind, Sasha didn't just sleep with her husband. She is plotting to use the baby to create a permanent connection with the Corinthos Quartermain family. This is a threat Willow cannot ignore. And she's determined that Sasha must pay for her actions. Willow's plan to take down Sasha begins with digging into her past. Willow quietly researches Sasha's history. From the scandal of pretending to be Nina's daughter to her battles with drugs and other illegal activities she's been involved in. The goal is to paint a picture of an unreliable woman, an unfit mother, and someone who shouldn't be granted custody. The real shock, however, is how Willow is slowly approaching Sasha under the guise of support and friendship. She started inviting Sasha to family events, offering help with baby preparations, and even hosting a small party to celebrate Sasha's pregnancy. All of this is designed to lower Sasha's guard, to make her feel safe and accepted, only for Willow to strike a fatal blow when Sasha least expects it. In a recent scene, Willow sat with Sasha during a prenatal checkup, holding her hand while the doctor checked the baby's heartbeat. Willow's gaze, just for a fleeting moment when Sasha wasn't paying attention, revealed her true feelings, a cold, disdainful look hidden perfectly behind a warm smile and encouraging words. This is a moment only the audience witnesses, a brief glimpse into the true dark side of Willow, which she has learned to conceal after months of facing constant challenges. As Willow's plan takes shape, she starts embracing a new sense of power. This feeling, both gratifying and addictive, is pushing her to go further, taking more risks in her strategies. There are moments when Willow hardly recognizes herself, like when she secretly rummages through Sasha's medicine cabinet, looking for evidence of past drug use that could be used against her, or when she considers editing audio recordings of her conversations with Danny to create a more favorable narrative for herself. What's concerning is that no one, not even Michael, notices what's really going on with Willow. They see a woman who has overcome a serious illness, trying to rebuild her life and reconcile with those who have hurt her. They don't see the storm quietly brewing within her, a storm that could destroy many lives when it finally erupts. However, there is one person starting to recognize the changes in Willow, Danny. With his sharp sensitivity, the teen has begun sensing something is wrong in the way Willow is approaching him. The overly focused questions, the intense gaze when he talks about Sasha, and especially how she constantly brings the conversation back to the unborn child, all of these are making Danny wary. But will he be mature enough and experienced enough to recognize the real danger that's forming, or will he inadvertently become a pawn in Willow's destructive plan? As events unfold, an inevitable confrontation is forming. Willow, armed with all her evidence and plans, will soon have to make a final decision. Will she launch a full-scale attack on Sasha, and possibly Michael? Or will her conscience win out in the end? And when the truth about her plan is eventually revealed, as it surely will be, will anyone still stand by Willow? Or will she discover that in trying to protect her family, she has inadvertently destroyed the very thing she was trying to protect? The biggest shock of all might not be what Willow is doing, but how she is transforming from a victim into someone capable of inflicting great harm on others. This is a stark reminder of how trauma can change a person, how the line between protection and revenge can easily blur, and how even the best of people can go astray when they feel threatened and betrayed. As poor Charles prepares for the birth of Sasha's unborn child, few realize that another storm, perhaps even more powerful, is quietly brewing, a storm named Willow. And anyone who stands in her way may soon face the devastating force of it. Jason is getting a new story about his mission to protect Sasha. A mission that's becoming more complicated and dangerous with each passing day. When Jason initially agreed to claim paternity of the baby, He thought it would be a temporary help, a way to protect Michael's true identity and avoid potential trouble for everyone involved. However, the situation quickly evolved into a complex maze of overlapping lies, subtle threats, and intertwined motives that even someone as experienced as Jason is finding difficult to navigate. One of the craziest new twists in this situation is how Jason has started to feel a real attachment to Sasha and the unborn child. Although he has always known that this is not his child. Moments like accompanying Sasha to prenatal appointments, hearing the baby's heartbeat, and engaging in conversations about the future have created a sense of responsibility Jason hadn't anticipated. He's starting to wonder if he'll really be able to let go when the truth finally comes out, or if he may have accidentally formed a connection that will be hard to break later. The new tension is building as Jason starts noticing signs that Sasha might be in danger. The mysterious phone calls she receives late at night. The feeling of being watched that she frequently mentions, and especially the appearance of a strange man near her apartment have heightened Jason's concern. With his natural protective instincts, Jason has begun investigating quietly and discovers that someone is trying to learn more about Sasha's pregnancy, and that person might be connected to Willow. Meanwhile, Danny is making everything even crazier with his new actions. Torn between loyalty to his father and a growing sense that the truth needs to be revealed, Danny has started taking actions of his own. He's begun tracking Michael and Sasha's interactions, noting the times and locations of their meetings, and even trying to learn more about their pasts through online searches. What's worrying is that Danny is doing all of this without informing Jason, creating a new layer of danger in an already complicated situation. In a particularly risky development, Danny has approached Michael himself, under the pretense of wanting to learn more about running the business. In these conversations, Danny has subtly asked questions about Michael and Sasha's past relationship, what Michael thinks of his marriage to Willow, and especially how he feels knowing that Jason will have a child with Sasha. These questions, disguised as innocent curiosity from a teen, are actually Danny's attempt to gauge whether Michael is truly the father of the baby. Jason, upon discovering his son's actions, finds himself in unprecedented anxiety. He knows that Danny is treading a dangerous path, not only because he could inadvertently reveal the secret, but also because he's placing himself in the role of a stalker. A role that could have unforeseen consequences. Jason has tried to talk to Danny, but the more he tries to control the situation, the more he pushes Danny away, driving him to act even more independently. A new pressure is forming as Jason realizes he's losing control of the situation. The lies he created to protect everyone are now growing into a living entity with its own will, involving more people with different intertwined motives. Jason, who usually controls every situation with calm and strategic thinking, now finds himself chasing a story that's quickly getting out of hand. In a particularly tense moment, Jason confronts Danny after discovering that he had secretly gone through Sasha's phone. Instead of the anger Danny expected, Jason approached his son with an unusual honesty. He admits to Danny that the situation has become far more complicated than he initially anticipated, and he's not sure whether his original decision was the right one. This conversation marks a rare moment when Jason Morgan, the man who always knows what to do, admits he's struggling with his decisions. As the story continues to unfold, Jason is facing an unprecedented challenge: how to protect everyone involved when the secret he's trying so hard to keep is slipping further from his grasp with every passing second. He knows that Willow is suspicious, Danny is acting independently, and there's an unspecified threat to Sasha. With so many variables, even Jason Morgan feels the weight of pressure on his shoulders. In a rare moment of self-reflection, Jason wonders if perhaps the best choice would be to end the lie before it causes more harm. However, he also understands that at this point, the truth might bring about consequences just as severe, not just for Michael and Willow, but also for Sasha and the unborn child, and especially for Danny, who has become a crucial part of this tangled story. As Port Charles continues to revolve around these secrets and lies, Jason Morgan is finding himself in a situation he rarely encounters, one with no clear solution, no obvious enemy to confront, and no path that leads to an ending where everyone is safe and unscathed. For a man who has spent his life protecting his loved ones, This may be his greatest challenge yet, a challenge that cannot be solved with strength or fighting skills, but only with difficult moral decisions and the inevitable consequences that come with them.